effects. But what's interesting is that caffeine has a quarter life of about 12 hours.
So this is a clip from a podcast with Dr. Matthew Walker, who is the founder of the Center for Human Sleep Science, and he literally wrote the book on why we sleep. So in this part of the podcast, he's essentially explaining how long does caffeine stay in our system and how does that affect our sleep. So every drug has a half-life and a quarter life. A half-life essentially is how long does it take our body to process that drug so only half of it is left in our system. And a quarter life is pretty much how long does it take, again, to do another half of that, so then there's only a quarter left of that drug in our system. For caffeine, the half-life is about 6 hours and the quarter life is about 10 to 12 hours. So what Dr. Walker is saying is that if you were to have a cup of coffee at noon, then when you want to go to bed 10 to 12 hours later at 10 p.m. or midnight, a quarter of that caffeine is still going to be in your system. So it would be the equivalent of just chugging a quarter of a cup of coffee right when you're going to bed. And in most grocery stores, the average canned coffee has about 160 milligrams of caffeine instead of the 80 to 100 milligrams of caffeine that you'd find in a normal cup of coffee. So if you were to drink one of those at noon, it would probably be closer to chugging half a cup of coffee right when you're going to bed. And it's even worse for your sleep if you're drinking some of the canned coffees or energy drinks that have 200 or 300 milligrams of caffeine. And if you like to have your afternoon bump later in the afternoon at 3 or 4, it's going to be even worse because half of that caffeine is still going to be in your system when you're trying to go to bed. So if you're having a 200 or 300 milligram canned coffee or energy drink, you're going to have about a full coffee or a cup and a half of coffee still in your system when you're trying to go to sleep. And there are really two ways to minimize caffeine's effect on your sleep. One, try not to drink any caffeine after noon. Or two, if you are going to have caffeine and you need a little afternoon bump, try something with less caffeine in it, like Half-Caff. If you haven't watched the interview with Dr. Walker yet, go ahead and watch that. It's super insightful. And give us a follow if you want to learn more about caffeine and how to get better sleep and have more energy. And if you just want to follow along as we create a ready-to-drink Half-Caff coffee company. Bye.